You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Frightmares Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for episode 373 is my good friend, Cory Johnson.
Heyo, everybody. I have an incurable brain disease.
Jesus Christ. I forgot that was part of this movie. I honestly forgot a lot of this movie because I haven't seen it in like 5 years. But today on another installment of Vampril's Bite, we are discussing our deep cut pick, Afflicted from 2013, a movie that proves intermittent fasting is not a healthy lifestyle choice. Let's see where this lands on the Nightmare Index. All right, so Cory, have you watched anything recently that has been good, that has been bad?
Not really. We're in that kind of like semi-lull period between like mega hitter releases. Because, you know, we had like January, February, we had like a handful of just some real bangers.
Fucking heaters.
Not a whole lot in March. We got Faces of Death coming out real soon, which I'm super stoked for.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's not been a whole lot that I've been like, yeah, I gotta go see this right now.
That's fair.
So I'm giving the wallet a break from the theater and from the drive to the theater, because it's a fucking 30-minute drive to the theater.
It's 30 minutes to everywhere.
Just about.
All right, so nothing, not even anything non-horror related. Any TV shows?
I started the new season of One Piece live action yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It's fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I like the live action. I know that it is one of the anime/manga adaptations that is a little more favorably looked upon, because Ichiro Oda is the creator, and he's like, yeah, you can't do any of this without my say so. So you've got the actual creator backing the creative decisions.
Perfect.
But no, other than that, I mean, it's been the same few shows I'm watching right now, because everything's on a weekly release. Because we went so far forward, we fell backwards into cable.
We did. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I have Disney, Hulu, and HBO Max bundled together, and I'm like, we're steps away from just a master plan that involves everything you want. Fucking Jesus. So, all right, well, I've got plenty to go over then. If you don't have too much, I watched a couple new releases for this year. The first being Crazy Old Lady, which is on Shudder, and despite its 2025 release date, it was not available in the States until March 26th, I want to say. I'll read you the description here. Pedro receives a desperate message from an ex-girlfriend asking him to look after her senile mother, Alicia. What seems like a simple mission soon becomes his worst nightmare. Pedro needs an escape, but Alicia won't let him. This movie was fucked, and it was not as crazy as I was thinking it would be, and really the biggest negative from me was the ending. They just left so much shit up in the air. I'm fine with ambiguity, but when you leave 4 characters, just what's happening with these characters? Yeah, it kind of took away everything that happened. There is one scene, though, that I will never recover from. It was horrifying. I recommend it. I gave it a 3. It's a fun time until that one scene, and then I wanted to bleach my eyes. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It's a crazy. It's also is it from Venezuela, I think. So it is Spanish, in Spanish. Let's see.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think we've gotten
Argentina.
Oh, okay. So we have gotten Argentina because Wakufe is Argentinian. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So it's worth the watch. It's got a 2.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So that one was definitely a ride. And then I watched something called The Demon, but it's spelled it's one of those AEs. I don't know how you say those.
It's the Latin spelling. It would be considered
the Damon.
I mean, depending on how bougie you want to get with it, it's either demon or Damon.
Yeah, Damon. We'll just go with that. This one also has a 2024 release date and wasn't made available until I think February. Oh, it finally has enough ratings to give an average. It's got a 3.1. This one is on Screambox, and it is set up to be another grief, tragedy, loss movie, but then they completely shift from... It's almost like they were using that as a springboard to get to what they wanted to do. And I actually talked to the director. He inboxed me on Instagram and said, thank you for watching. Thank you for your review. And then we had a back and forth, and he explained why he used the grief and kind of trauma trope that's been going around and contextualized it for me. I was like, oh, okay. So this actually has meaning. It wasn't just another trend. So it was a good one. 3 out of 5. It was a little too ambiguous for me. And rewatching it, though, with his context, I think it would go up for me because now it would make a lot more sense. But it's very cosmic horror, indie production, good time. I mean, production value was great.
I mean, cosmic horror and indie is kind of like the sauce.
Yeah.
Because it is so rarely done well that when it is done well, it's like, ooh.
It's like my prime example is The Void. Indie production, fucking stellar movie. So that one was good. Then I watched one called Ganymede, and this was sent over from AV Entertainment. I don't know how to feel about this one because it involves... it's like religious propaganda. It almost feels like it is about a small town wrestler develops a crush on an openly gay classmate. And by the end of the movie, I felt like it was pro, community. But there were 3 uses of the F slur, and the Christian religion was brought in, and they were basically saying how homosexuality doesn't exist and it's all made up. And I was like, this is a very strange way to get your message across. It's entirely possible that this was someone's experience in life that they were putting on screen, but the message of it being a pro-gay film was just completely smothered in this Christian indoctrination propaganda. So I don't know how to feel about this one. I gave it a 2.5. I just don't know. I feel like context would help me here. It has a 2.8 out of 5. That one I don't think is streaming anywhere. Like I said, I got a review copy from AV Entertainment. So that one, I don't know. Then I watched 2 documentaries, The Program, Cons, Cult, and Kidnapping, wild shit, 4 stars. And then one of the craziest ones I've seen, it is called Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God, which Michael recommended to me. Holy shit. Did you ever hear about that lady that ate all that colloidal silver and turned blue and died?
No, but I do remember that... There was a trend on TikTok going around like last year sometime of people claiming they were taking colloidal silver for whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know specifically who you're referencing. And for some reason, this is not the correct person, but I'm just imagining the Long Island medium lady with the big hair, just with the big fat liar skin.
Yeah.
I know that's not correct.
Almost, though. Almost. That one's crazy. The Program was on Netflix. Love Is One was on HBO Max, or whatever the fuck it is now, because they can't seem to pick a name. Finally finished.
I think it's back to just plain HBO.
Jesus Christ. I watched the last Transformers movie in the original 6.
Finally.
Oh God, dude, I didn't think it could get worse than whatever the fucking last one was. Number 5, Age of Extinction, because that one got a 1.5. Transformers The Last Night was just an utter slog of a 2 hour, 45-minute movie. It was so goddamn dumb, and Michael Bay should be ashamed of this movie. Also, I'm all for aspect ratio changes in movies for key scenes, like in Sinners. It'll switch to the IMAX aspect ratio for certain scenes. This fucking movie was switching between aspect ratios during a fight scene. I counted 11 in a minute, and that's disgusting. It almost sent me into fucking psychosis. Oh my God. So horrible. 1 star. In preparation for the new Faces of Death, even though they're like related but not related. I watched that. It was rough. The first 35 minutes is all violence against animals. I don't know what we're doing here.
Isn't the opening of the first Faces of Death, though, the guy that goes in to like the doctor's office with the screwdriver, though?
He goes into this coroner's office, and then we get narration from him setting up the movie, and then he goes into the many faces of death, and it's all animal torture or
I haven't seen it in so long that I've forgotten about it.
There's a chicken being beheaded, which is 100% real. There's no way to fake that. I know that. Cows and animals in the slaughterhouses being murdered, like just slitting their throats. I'm like, I don't want to see this. This is horrible. But after like 30 or 40 minutes, it finally switches over to like people. And once it got there, I was like, all right, I can see the merit. It was coming out in the video nasty era of the 70s. It is shock for shock value. And I understand its place in cinematic horror. It's not a good movie, but I don't necessarily think it's bad at the same time. 2.5 stars just because I understand why it exists. So don't recommend it. It's rough. Even the stuff that, because some of it is real, some of it is fake. A lot of it, or not a lot of it, but some of it is actual news footage that was that they were given, and some of it was stuff from World War II that was like filmed during World War II. Like there's a lot of real footage in there, but I would say 60% of it's probably fake.
And I know some of what they do is they'll set up the vignette as like here's the news coverage, and then you'll get a cut and it's like a dramatization based off the news coverage. I do remember that much, but I do agree it is rough in all of the senses.
Yeah.
In the sense of it's rough to watch, the production is rough.
Yeah.
The audio is rough.
Yeah.
Everything's rough and scuffed, and it's
It's not something I will ever watch again. It was one of those movies. Yes, one time is enough. I experienced it. Cool. Now I have any context if it is brought up in the new one, like just in case. I don't know if they're going to play clips from it. I have no idea. So that 2.5 for that, whatever. And then the last thing I watched that wasn't new was Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. What a fuck awful sequel from the original Howling. That movie picked so many different directions to go in, wouldn't commit to one. Sybil Danning is in it, and this is at the point in her career where she was done with doing nudity, but the people involved with making the movie were like, you have to do one. So she did one, and then in the credits for the movie, they play that clip where she rips off her top 17 times. 17 times. She was pissed, and it's rightly so. And it just kept going down, my rating. I was like, all right, 2.5. Now it's 2. And then I was like, you guys only got 1 from her and then replayed it 17 times. I was like losing a 0.5 star because that is so excessive.
Yeah, that's firebombing your own movie.
Yeah, like so 1.5. Terrible movie. And then the last new thing I watched for this year was The Yeti, which actually was like a exclusive early access on Saturday. It doesn't release until this coming weekend, the 10th. And I don't know. It was funny at first, and then the comedy died off, and then it got really serious. not enough Yeti. It was like all filler.
Not enough Yeti.
Yeah, all filler, no killer, and then so many plot points that Gabby and I were just like, it's clearly a first directed movie by these guys. Like, and no offense to them, they had a great setting. It's set in like 1947. A lot of good actors and actresses were involved, but it was just, by the end of it, it was so underwhelming. You didn't get any of like the payoff that you wanted. And then like the Yeti for a while, which fucks off for like the last 20 minutes of the movie. Okay, so
can I just say how fucking jealous I am of all these goddamn sneak peeks and sneak previews? Because I see you posting about it on like TikTok or your Facebook reels, and I'm like, damn. That's fucking so cool. We've finally gotten to the point where you're getting like a constant stream of sneak peeks.
Well, they keep doing them at my AMC too, and I just happened to like tonight I'm actually going to something called a Scream Unseen. They don't tell you what the movie is. It's just show up and we show you a movie that hasn't been released yet. No idea what the movie is going to be tonight, and it's so exciting. I'm grateful to be able to see all these before the masses and then try to get out my content really quickly. So it's a lot of fun. But I think that's all I've watched besides our movie today, Afflicted, of course. But I say we move on to the body count.
Let's do it.
All right. So Afflicted is our movie from 2013, released on April 4th. 2014 as a limited run in the US. It is rated R for disturbing bloody violence and language. There is no sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, moderate profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and moderate frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at a brisk hour and 25 minutes, listed as a horror mystery sci-fi thriller. Directed by Derek Lee, who only directed one other movie and 4 short films prior to Afflicted. The other movie is called The Last Stand of Ellen Cole from 2024. The same goes for the second director, Cliff Prowse. He only did 4 short films. Oh, no, that's the same as Derek. Also written by Derek Lee and Cliff Prowse. They only have written other shorts. That's it. Kind of crazy because this movie is like such a good movie. Composed by Ido Van Bremen, who also composed The Monkey and Keeper. Cinematography by Norm Lee. He also did the cinematography for Beyond the Black Rainbow, which is Panos Cosmatos' first film, I think. Cabin Fever 3, Patient Zero, and a Chapel Rowan music video for the subway. Random as fuck.
They made 3 Cabin Fevers?
I knew there was 2. I didn't know there was 3.
I didn't even know there was 2. I knew of the one. Yeah, the good one.
Yeah, the good one. Edited by Greg Ng. He also edited Longlegs, The Monkey, and Keeper. Starring Derek Lee as Derek. He has done 6 other short films prior to Afflicted. Cliff Prowse as Cliff. This is his only acting credits. Baya Rehaz as Audrey, who was also in Blue is the Warmest Color as Miriam. And then we have Benjamin Z-Town as Maurice, who has done a few other French productions. Estimated budget of $318,000, grossing $121,200. Filmed in Vancouver, Canada, Barcelona, Spain, Paris, France, and Vernazza and La Spezia, Italy. You can watch this on Pluto now. Apparently, from the time of the last episode and now, it is streaming. So
yep, that was the only place that I could find it without renting it.
So there you go. It's on Pluto. Movies that
I will say Pluto TV. Insane amount of ads.
Yeah, I remember
like a 6 and 7 spot ad placement every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And for an hour and 20, and on Pluto TV, it claims to be an hour and 24 minutes. So for an hour and 24 minutes,
that's a lot.
We're getting like 5 ad breaks of 6 ads each.
Fucking, I mean, it's free, but at what cost? Movies that came out around the same time based on the limited theatrical run in 2014. We have 300 Rise of an Empire, the sequel everyone forgot about. Dark House, Need for Speed, 13 Sins, Exists, Predestination, Creep, Neighbors, Starry Eyes, Night of the Wolf, Open Windows, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Alien Abduction, Zombievers, A Haunted House 2, and one of the most criminally underrated sci-fi movies, Time Lapse. That movie fucking rips. IMDb summary, two best friends see their trip of a lifetime take a dark turn when one of them is struck by a mysterious affliction. Now in a foreign land, they race to uncover the source before it consumes him completely. This is the Autopsy. So, Cory.
They don't really race. They spend like 12 days just kind of fucking around figuring out what he can do.
That's true. They do spend some time after he wakes up. But overall thoughts for Afflicted, what do we got?
This is from my understanding, this is almost a completely 100% unique premise that I feel they do extreme justice to. And for most of the movie, it is so wildly believable because of how they are acting in the situations. It's really not up until like the last 30, 45 minutes of the movie where I'm like, all right, I don't necessarily believe this isn't happening anymore.
Right, yeah.
But because of the format and the YouTube-ishness of how they were doing it, and I'm going to say Cliff is the one that sells this whole situation.
Okay.
Just because he's essentially the narrator for most of it until what happens to him. But it's wildly believable for like 90% of the movie. Mm-hmm. And a wonderful cast of characters. They all feel like actual people that exist in the world.
No, I agree. And I think it's funny because they're using their real names. These are real people. I'm pretty sure they're actual lifetime friends because they show clips of them much younger than what they are making videos. And I'm like, I really feel these are people that have known each other for most of their life. So,
well, and like, so for the knowing each other for most of their life. So the band Unalaska was created for this movie. The two guys in the band went, wait, this is fun.
Yeah.
And became an actual band.
Which is crazy.
Because of the movie. So you are probably right. I think all of these people know each other except for Audrey and Maurice. They were probably hired in Paris.
Yeah. 100%. My overall thoughts for this movie, gonna include the hot take here, might as well. Haven't had one in a while, but I do genuinely think this is one of the most original concepts for a vampire movie. It adds such a sense of realism by doing the found footage or POV narrative, and also it is just the complete opposite of what a vampire movie typically is. It's not dark and gothic. There is no love interest. It doesn't have any of the trappings of a typical vampire story, and yet it's still one of the most fascinating takes on the subgenre, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's property damage, the movie.
Oh my God. I forgot how nuts this movie. I mean, I watched it one time like 5 years ago, I want to say. I just remember, I thought the vampire part of it was much more of a twist, but that happens like 15, 20 minutes in, is when he starts showing signs. And it doesn't really take long for you to put it together. But I thought that was like the ending reveal twist. And I was like, oh no, we know about this for most of the movie. So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm trying to see when I actually did watch it for the first time. Because it was a while ago. It just happened to be streaming. And I was in my found footage era.
It was for our show.
Oh, okay. Let's see. It was back in March 13th, 2020.
You had found it and you were like, yo, we got to check out this movie for the show. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I think that was when we had broken down and stopped doing like 8 movies. And it was like, yo, let's do 2 movies each. We're each going to watch one of them and then we're going to pick another one.
Yeah, 2020 is when we started doing 2, because 2021 is when we started doing 1 movie, finally, for the fucking love of God. So, let's start. Where did I want to start? Let's talk about why this doesn't get talked about. Let's talk about that, because Afflicted is one of those movies that really just slipped through the cracks. You mentioned it on the last episode we did, Frankenstein's Army, where we see it pop up like every 6 months or something in one of the groups that we're in, and then fucking never see it again. And it's funny because right after we had that conversation, like 2 days later, it popped up in the group. I was like, what the fuck?
It was on the timeline.
But also what I think is funny is we talked about this on Frankenstein's Army, because that was also a found footage POV style movie. And I think, because I didn't mention this in that episode, but I think at this point, the genre was kind of wearing thin on people, because from like 2007 to 2012, we just got fucking found footage just dumped everywhere. So I think...
And we got a lot of really... we got some amazing found footage, and then we got mostly not super great.
Right. So this thing shows up doing some genuinely fresh ideas, and it just doesn't get the attention it deserves. And going back to it after so many years, it's kind of wild how it holds up, not just as a horror movie, but as a found footage movie that actually justifies its own existence. Because a lot of the times in found footage movies, you're like, why are we filming this? But in this case, and it shifts many times in the movie, it shifts from being kind of this documentary about their trip, and then it turns into, okay, well, let's film this because what's going on with Derek? And then after Cliff, gets gooshed, Derek is just filming this because he feels it needs to be recorded, because he doesn't also understand what's going on with him. So there's actual justification for the camera to be running as much as it is, which is kind of rare sometimes in the found footage movement. I don't know how you feel about that, or if that feels valid.
I would say it's kind of 50-50, because even in some of the not as good found footage, they usually try and find a justification to it.
Right.
But then I go back to something like The Curse of Aurora, which it's literally being filmed POV style because that's the theme of the movie. There's really there's no other reason to be doing it like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of 50-50. I think the real reason that this got passed over was... Now, I don't know how the trailers went or whatever.
Yeah, I don't either. I never saw a trailer for this. I just saw it streaming and popped it on.
But if they use any of the first, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, it's gonna look like a POV buddy film.
Right, yeah. That's what it's gonna look like.
So people were probably like, what? No, this looks dumb as shit.
Right.
Because the reason the kind of POV party thing worked in Cloverfield in the trailers is because they show it for a second and then they show the giant fucking Statue of Liberty head falling from the sky, and then they cut into everything else. And you're like, okay, sure, you can still have the mystery, but if you show any of the action parts of the found footage with Afflicted, it's going to absolutely destroy the entire movie. You have to be told what is going on in the context of the movie. Otherwise, it's like, oh, what?
Yeah, what am I watching? Yeah, exactly. But this is honestly one of those movies where you recommend it to people and they go, wait, why have I never heard of this? And it's like, I don't fucking know, but that's why we're here doing this. You gave me the idea last episode where I was like, we gotta cover this. So I rearranged this month entirely outside of Fright Night. Almost every movie this month is now different, which is fine. I mean, I just posted the lineup, which is the updated version yesterday. So I think what really makes this work is we touched on this, is how it starts, because it doesn't feel like a horror movie at all. Even when I put this on, I didn't tell my wife what we were watching. I just threw it on, and I was hoping that it wouldn't show a title card, which it didn't, which was great. It only shows Afflicted at the end of the movie. So she had no idea what was going on, but she did catch on to the vampires pretty quick because it's vampire month, so she kind of already assumed this would be a vampire. Yeah. So she already kind of assumed.
She's smarter than both of us. So.
So But it doesn't, it just feels like you're watching two friends, document a once in a lifetime trip. There's a looseness to it, a natural chemistry that doesn't feel scripted, probably because they have been friends for so long. It's messy the way real found footage is. It's not perfectly framed sometimes. It's blurry. Conversations overlap. The jokes are always landing for me, though. I thought the interactions were hilarious, and everything feels grounded enough for you to buy it immediately. You're like, okay, I mean, and that's the biggest sell of a found footage movie, is the believability of it. And this starts off so believably. By the end, it does get a little, I'd say cinematic, but it gets a little more unbelievable. I'd say about the point when he live streams Maurice, I was like, this is about the point where I think we're getting into fiction.
Yeah.
But everything before that is very, very believable.
But what I will say is, when they do leave the realm of believability, they say, all right, we're at least gonna make it fucking cool.
Right.
I reference the fight with Audrey and just the absolute acrobatics that they're doing. And what I really appreciate is they are using their cuts in such a way that you can definitely tell, like, he jumped off a ladder.
Yeah, or like
they put
on wires or something.
And it doesn't even look like wires, because pretty much every cut that isn't him being thrown somewhere, he's like jumping down from stuff, and it's like, oh, they just hit a ladder behind this pillar and then hit record a microsecond after he jumped off.
Right.
And then for the throwing things, it's like, oh, they probably just had him jump off and then ran that backwards. Like, it's so super simple in some of the effects that even though it's not believable, because of how simple it is, your brain doesn't think about it.
Right.
So you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, fucking vampire fight. Great.
Well, yeah, and because when things do start to go wrong, it doesn't feel like such a tonal shift. It feels like this is really happening, because it goes from that kind of like buddy comedy to a, whoa, okay, fucking Derek is on the bed, he's bleeding, what's going on? That part feels so believable, and then he goes through these changes pretty, I'd say quickly, but they discover them at I would say a very good pace. And then you're like, okay, what the fuck's happening? Like, he's throwing up from the food, he's getting burned in the sun, and then they realize he's super strong, so they go break bricks, and he's jumping up the side of the building. So it has such a natural progression that it goes very seamlessly in, like, I'd say 3 tonal shifts, maybe, from like comedy to fucking mystery to revenge, because he's like trying to track Audrey down and like get an explanation or get revenge. It has these shifts, but they feel so natural. It's not like a fucking whiplash,
And I was actually thinking about this morning before we got on, because I knew you were going to mention tonal shifts. And there is one thing that I feel I can attest to why it doesn't feel like true tonal shifts.
Sure.
Is because in the first, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, they open up with Derek's AVM, his blood vessel things in his head. So we know pretty much from go that anything that he is about to do in this movie could be considered dangerous.
Right.
Like at any moment, this man can drop dead.
Right.
Which is why he's going on this trip. So everything else predicated after that, you're like, oh, well, okay. I mean, is this worse than the brain disease? Yeah, not really.
Yeah, and you aren't sure if the reactions he's having are because of that or something else. Like I said, my wife put it once he got burned in the sun, she was like, okay, so this is definitely a vampire movie. But again, she knew it was Vampire Month. So I think that when I first put it together that he was probably a vampire, I'm trying to think, because I remember that being like, oh shit, he's a vampire. I would probably say is when, because even the superhuman strength at first, I was like, well, yeah, and I wasn't thinking this at the time, but retrospectively, I'm like, yeah, vampires do have superhuman strength, superhuman speed. But for me, it was when he licked the blood off of that stranger off of his hand. I was like, why would you do that? That's very strange. I was like, that's something a vampire would probably do.
Well, and I remember watching this for the first time when he breaks through the fucking concrete wall.
Yeah.
And Cliff is like, you just broke the wall. Try this one. And I'm like, well, they are in like tiny place nowhere Italy where a lot of the things are made of old stone and plaster.
Right.
Like, so punching through a wall in a place where, you know, history started. I don't know. Maybe it's just an old wall. And then they go directly into punching the boulder. Right. And I'm like, okay. Thank you for now just completely upending my thought process.
And I think that's why they do it, because you're right. I mean, a lot of those bricks or those stones at this point just might have deteriorated over time. But
especially because they make Derek try and break the stone, but all Cliff does is pick it up and hand it to him. So they don't give you like Cliff can't do this.
Right, exactly.
They just kind of leave it out. So you're like, maybe, I don't know.
Right. So you get him smashing a brick in half, or that boulder. I mean, that thing was fucking huge. And honestly, it reminded me a lot of Chronicle, which came out in 2012.
It does have some very heavy Chronicle vibes to it.
So I was like, okay, you know, at first I'm thinking, is this just going to be kind of another Chronicle just set in a different place? And I almost feel that they do that. This is entirely speculation. But I feel like they might have done that to misdirect you, because one of those movies came out, it was the year before this movie came out. So maybe it is, maybe it's not. But then you finally get really, once he licks the blood off his hand and then starts taping newspapers to the windows, you're like, all right, you got to be a vampire. And of course, they have that funny moment where Cliff is like, here are the fucking symptoms of a vampire, and trying to help him out and stuff like that. And the progression of him to trying blood is very interesting, because they explain to you what he can and cannot have through us seeing it. Fucking blood from a butcher, not working. Blood from a freshly killed animal, not working. Well, the only thing besides that's going to work is most likely human blood. So I loved how they explained that without telling us. We experienced it.
Also, speaking of the scene where he licks the blood, did you get a vibe? And maybe this is just me. I felt that scene very, very much mirrored the scene from My European Nightmare, where Sergei goes and does his first kill in that like tunnel area where he sets the camera down and he runs up to the guy and he kills him, and then he comes back and he like licks the knife.
Oh yeah.
I was like, because they're both taking place in Paris too. I'm like, this feels so similar.
Completely different movie too. That's his descent into madness. And I love the two different titles of that one, My American Dream and My European Nightmare. I love the fact that they had two different names for that one. That's one I need to rewatch. It's been a minute since I've seen that one.
I'm waiting until I can talk Jessica into watching it.
Oh God.
Because and I think the only reason she won't is that one scene where he's out in the woods with the dead bird and the dead rabbit, and he's like doing a puppet show with them. I think Jessica will have a real problem with that. Everything else should be fine, but once she gets to that, she's gonna be like, no, turn it off.
The animals,
and I'm like, but it's the very end, and he's gonna light a child on fire and then eat him. Like, come on.
So Derek, because he becomes sick, he becomes disoriented, he's kind of slower to react to things, and I really love how this movie showcases what happens when he doesn't get the blood he needs. He goes into this almost catatonic state where he's frozen, but then Cliff is like, I think he needs blood because he can smell my blood, because he passes his hand over his face, and Derek like freaks out, but he goes into he's almost like I don't even know what you would call it. It feels like a catatonic state. His eyes are completely glossed over. And that's what happens when you don't eat, because he tells Audrey, he's like, I've been eating like once a week or once every 2 weeks. I can't do this. And she's like, dude,
I can't kill somebody every 10 days.
Yeah. And she's like, you need to be eating every 4 to 5 days. Your eyes are already turning. And once you turn, there's no going back. So they establish that if you go for food without blood long enough, you will turn into basically a rabid vampire that can't stop killing. That is such a cool, I mean, I'm sure that's been done before, but the fact that if you go for a certain amount of time without it, you basically cannot control yourself anymore. That is a great an addition to a vampire story. It's so good.
It is, but it also brings up my one, and I would say my one and only kind of pitfall / gripe, maybe loophole type thing. Because we see Audrey drive a giant piece of wood through Derek's heart to prove that he can't be killed.
Yeah.
So if Audrey knows that there are essentially feral vampires out there that cannot be returned to sentient vampires.
Yeah.
That means she has seen one somewhere.
Right.
How is that a thing that continues? Because if they're just out killing randomly, you think in this world there would be a whole lot more awareness of vampires. Because if you can't shoot them in the head, you can't kill them with a stake to the heart, it is now implied that they are just like pure immortals. Like they just straight up cannot be killed.
That's what
Where are all these other vampires?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I didn't think about. It's entirely possible, because you have to figure if she's a vampire, she has there's got to be some like commune of vampires somewhere. It's possible. I don't know. There's an explanation for it that I'm not thinking of right now. Maybe I don't know. You'd think they were
that was the only, because like during that whole fight scene, I'm like, yeah, but what, like, okay, yeah, he loses his humanity, but then what's like, he can't be killed. What's the outcome? Like, what's the consequence of him not feeding aside from going feral and turning? Like, can we get a sequel where it's just Derek being a fucking feral vampire with a GoPro strapped to his chest?
Oh my God, that would be great. Yeah, I guess that's true, because if that's out there, then there has to have been at least one case where that happened. I mean, it's entirely possible this happened centuries ago. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
Who knows how long? I mean, I know they mentioned something about Audrey not turning someone in like 50 years or something. It's been, I think it's established that she's been a vampire for 50 years and she hasn't turned anybody in that time. But I'm sure vampires spread the word to other vampires, like, hey, you better eat every 4 or 5 days or else you'll go feral. I mean, I'm going to go with it happened centuries ago, back before civilization was fully where it's at now, and they saw it, and they had to put an end to that vampire somehow. I don't know, because you can't be killed, or at least not in traditional ways. I'm sure if you cut a head off, then maybe you could, but he also shoots himself in the head at one point, and
with a double barrel shotgun.
Oh yeah! God!
The largest boom that some random dude in fucking Italy can get.
Yeah, and he's shown the next day that his head has completely healed. So I like the fact that nothing can kill them, because it's a not far of a step up from traditional vampire lore. Usually, it's a stake to the heart. Sometimes it's silver bullets, but that's more werewolfy. So this is just, you're immortal, you cannot die. It's a natural progression from regular vampire lore. So it takes established lore and kind of just does something slightly different with it. Garlic's not really mentioned. Sunlight obviously hurts them. No mention about crucifixes or holy water.
Although garlic may never be mentioned, but it might be unintentionally mentioned in the sense of when it happens, like when they start figuring it out, they're in Italy.
Yeah.
I have never eaten a piece of Italian food that did not have garlic in it.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
that might be the, hey, here's the garlic thing.
Yeah, here's a garlic thing. We're not going to mention it, but yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible what he was eating. It looked delicious, by the way. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, all the food looked delicious.
Both of those plates of
and
food.
I don't even like pesto. And I was like, damn, that pesto looks fucking good.
Right? I was like, golly. And that's what I think is so impressive about this movie is they went to all of these countries and they were filming a lot of the times in the fucking streets. That is so crazy to me. I don't know.
That was one of the things I leaned over to Jessica and said, there is no way that they are just in an Italian street at night with nobody there. That not possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they had to work with someone there to clear out some of the streets for these shots, but it's very impressive that they were able to do so many of these shots at night in the city. I mean, they're scaling buildings at one point, which I mean, clearly they were definitely on wires for that one because I watched the way I watched the way he jumped and I was like, definitely on wires. But
so now that we're on that part, that leads me into one other thing.
Sure.
So because he is definitely in France when this is happening.
Yeah.
And my joke forever, and I apologize to any of our French listeners, but y'all lost y'all's own civil war, and there is no way that French police are going to see a man jump from ground 5 stories up and go, yeah, let's keep going after him. No fucking way. No fucking way. I don't care what size gun you have. You've shot him 16 times and he's still running. Nah, fucking give up. We're done.
Yeah, we're done. And it turns into almost a video game, and not in like Frankenstein's Army, but not in a bad way. Well, I guess I didn't say it was a bad way in Frankenstein's Army, but when he's scaling that building and goes up 5 stories and plops up there, fucking guys start coming, on the roof with guns, and he just jumps across. I mean, I don't genuinely understand how they got some of this footage, because when he lunges across the street to another building, I mean, was he on wires? Did they just throw a fucking camera? Like, I don't fucking know.
So I think what they might have done is they might have set up like so you know how in the NFL they have that giant camera on a cable goes. That's probably what they did, just with
sense.
whatever they probably took Cliff's chest rig, strapped it to a box, strapped the box to a cable, and sent it down.
Some of these shots, I'm like, dude, this is so impressive.
Yeah, they are even the jumping down off a platform over a fence and running through these tunnels. I'm like, that's still yeah, he's just running, but to do it in a way that I can actually see what he's doing is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he's running through these corridors. He does almost some parkour at points. He's running from these cops and running. And I'm just like, man, this is truly filmed very well. I forgot how well it was filmed.
My favorite shot of that, and it's not even really that impressive. It's when Derek lifts the car and sets it down and the car alarm goes off and they're both like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And you see Cliff point the camera at Derek, point it down as he starts moving, and then pick it up again. And Derek's already running around the corner. I'm like, that's so fucking sick.
That's what I said too. I was like, I'm fast as fuck, boy. I'm fast as fuck. It's almost like that scene in As Above, So Below, but instead of him just walking, he's just fucking sprinting so fast. And that scene, dude, the scene too, where he's on the moped, Cliff, and he's filming Derek running. I don't know how they did that, because he's like, I'm at 60 kilometers, and then he flips it over to Derek, who literally looks like he's running like Superman, and eventually he passes Cliff. Very good good camera trickery.
The only way to do that, obviously, is that Derek is a real vampire.
It's clearly some camera tricks.
That's why he hasn't made any more movies.
Right, yeah, he's clearly... It is such a wild fucking movie. I mean, Jesus Christ. Let's see here. What was I gonna do? Fucking lost where I was. I think I've just gone over so many of my notes. I'm not even realizing it. Oh yeah, here we go. So we've talked about the tonal shifts, and then by the time you get to the third act, I feel the tone shifts for the last time because there's no hope of reversing this. Audrey says, like, there's no cure. This is who you are.
Do you think if there was a cure that I wouldn't have cured myself by now?
Right. And we get because really I think all he wants is an explanation at minimum. And she was like, I thought I was being nice. You were dying. I would never turn somebody intentionally. So I think she was mercy killing him. And maybe Gabby speculated that she heard all the friends coming up to the door and bolted, or she didn't drain enough blood out of him to kill him. So she was mercy killing him because he was dying. And then now it's
and see, I took it as during their conversation in the bar, he probably let loose like, oh, hey, we're here on this trip because I've got this brain disease and yada, yada. And she took pity on him and said, I'm going to take away your brain disease. See, and I'm going to turn you so that you don't have to live with this disease anymore. And before he could be awoken and her explain it to him, they do the Turkish cock block. So I do think she bolted, but I think her original intent was to wait till he woke up and say, hey, you're a vampire, here's how it goes, yada yada. But then the friends came in and it destroyed the whole plan.
And see, that's what I thought too, until Gabby said that she literally says, I have never and would never turn anybody intentionally. So I don't know. It could be either or at this point, but it does feel like she was doing that so he wouldn't die. But I could also see her trying to mercy kill him. Either way, he gets an explanation, which is very interesting because I didn't remember if he got an explanation. And then that's, of course, when it really goes off the rails from there. Well, I guess it doesn't really go off the rails. He kidnaps that guy who clearly is a child molester, and I guess he's like the Dexter of vampires. He's going to start getting people that deserve to die and just feeding off of them at this point.
Because that's what Audrey says. Is she says you can't choose not to feed, but you can choose who you kill, and that makes a difference.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay. I mean, I appreciate that you're trying to throw some like morals into being a vampire.
Yeah. Which is interesting. So, yeah, I mean, and I love the fact that it's not just the horror about this movie. It's like the inevitability of what's happening. This isn't something that he chose. It was one night, one encounter, and one moment that didn't really seem like it mattered until there's no going back from being a vampire, as he clearly found out. I remember when she stabbed him in the heart with the wooden stake. I was like, oh shit, does he die? And then he gets back up, and I'm like, oh, this is just like, you're immortal. Like, you're not immortal, but some things can kill you. No, you're just straight up fucking Wolverine at this point. And you're gonna self-heal, and that's where we're at. Which again is just a fun variation of the vampire lore. But I mean, this is exactly why you don't talk to strangers on vacation, mind your own business. That was kind of the theme of Fright Night's episode. Mind your own fucking business. Don't talk to strangers, or at least don't talk to strangers in France. No,
so the lesson here is you can go to France,
okay,
but don't talk to people in bars.
Okay.
Because they're either going to turn you into a vampire or get you trapped in the fucking catacombs.
Gabby, while we were watching this, was like, wouldn't it have been hilarious if he got to the catacombs in France and walked past the crew from As Above, So Below?
Oh, that's a fucking crossover I need.
Right? Just like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just exploring. All right, I'm running away. It would have been great. Oh my God, if this movie ended up in the catacombs, that would have been amazing. Let's see. Is there anything else? I don't think I have anything. I don't know if there was something else you wanted to mention that we didn't touch on.
I mean, not really. This is kind of a movie that it's not a turn your brain off movie because you do have to focus a little bit.
Definitely.
But it's super, super fun because of how it is originally presented to you.
Right.
So, like I said, the formatting of how they do it is probably my favorite thing about this movie because it is for 90% of the movie, it is super believable.
Right.
Like, and then they're showing the comments from the family of like, bro, did you lick blood off your hand? You know, turn yourself in. People are worried about you. Where's Cliff? Like, they give you all these little minute details where it's just like, oh no, this is actually happening in 2014.
And that was the cool thing about it, is they were updating it as they went along, and eventually Derek's brother, I think Jason, he pops up with the cops, and Derek's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Why do you have the cop? Like, you can't be here. I'm dangerous. Get away from me. That was actually, I completely forgot about that moment, but I can't believe his brother showed up with the cops. Like, dude, I know you're trying to help, but don't show up with the cops. Don't do that to your brother. And then, of course, he runs away, and you get more parkour. It's a good time. I mean, this is why I'm glad you mentioned it on the last episode we did, because I definitely wanted to highlight it, especially because I don't feel like it's talked about nearly enough. And, of course, I will be plugging this in the found footage group, like, hey, come listen to this episode of Afflicted.
Remember this movie.
Remember this movie, please. Would love to speak to Derek and Cliff on this movie. I'm going.
Yeah, and I'll talk to either of them.
Yeah, I will track them down. I don't know. I don't think they'll be that hard to get in contact with, but who knows? People are deleting social media left and right at this point. So, but yeah, these are. My question is like, why didn't you make any more movies? And it's entirely possible because this one just wasn't popular. You know, they might have lost money on this. I mean, it cost about $300,000. They got back 121. I mean, I don't know. It's entirely, there's many reasons why someone wouldn't make another movie, but it's just so strange to hop into the scene, make a killer movie, and then just peace out. Like, it's very strange.
And you know, maybe they already had this fucking trip planned, and they were like, what if we just take all our cameras and shoot a movie while we're doing this in hopes of making our money back?
Yeah, true. Who knows? That's why I need to find them, and I need to talk to them, because I have many a question for Cliff and Derek. I think that's all I've got. I'll just say, I'll end with this. I think Afflicted is one of the best examples of how to reinvent a familiar concept. Two concepts, found footage and vampires. It feels real in a way most horror movies don't, and I think that's what makes it hit harder, because outside of, and see, that's the thing with Cloverfield, you know what you're getting into when you watch that movie, unless you didn't see the trailer, but that one starts off kind of the same way, except they're sending a friend off, and then chaos breaks out. So that one kind of starts very similar to Afflicted, like, these two guys, and they're going on a trip. But I can't really name another found footage movie that does what Afflicted does, where that tonal shift from them being buddies to, oh God, Derek is dying probably, is such a great like misdirection in the beginning of the movie. At least I think so. So that's where I'm at.
I understand why they killed off Cliff, but I wish they would have killed off Cliff just a little bit later. He was my favorite character.
I know.
Like, he's so genuine in everything he does. And in the times where he's like trying to confront Derek about what's going on, like, he seems so earnest, and it feels like such a real conversation that he's like, you're my friend. I feel responsible for you. Like, we got to do something. And Derek's like, if they put me in a hospital, I'm never leaving.
Right.
I'm like, well, that makes sense.
And it was so sad how he died, because he, like, you know, cuts his arm to give him blood, and he goes to hand it to Derek, and it's that point, it's too late. Derek is way too hungry. He's not about to open the, you know, little jar of blood you gave him, and it's very sad. I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, does Cliff get turned into a vampire? And I guess technically he does, because the last shot of the movie during the credits is Cliff popping up and killing those kids. So make sure you stay through the credits, because Cliff does pop back up. And I guess he did turn into a vampire, but I wish they killed him much, much later. He was great, but Gabby had a huge problem with him. She was like, you got to be a ride or die. If you fucking, he didn't do anything about getting people blood. And I was like, you're not just going to throw your morals out the window. I'm not just, you know what I mean? They tried to go to the blood bank, but that shit didn't work at all. They stole the fucking ambulance.
And he is ride or die. He just chose the latter.
Right. He was trying to figure out if we can do this without killing someone.
And then he did die. So he rode and then died.
He really was. He could have
he's not ride or die. He's ride and die.
Yeah, the whole new fucking phrase right there. Because he could have easily packed up his bags and left once Derek started acting weird. I mean, he could have, but he did stay. So I'll argue he is ride and die. I think that's a perfect place to end. So that was Afflicted from 2013. Let's move on to the final cut. Womp. All right, so some trivia. There was not much trivia. There was 3 things about trivia. Ido Van Bremen and Zachary Gray enjoyed working together so much that they decided to make the fictional band on Alaska into a real band with the same name. Filming took place in Barcelona, Paris, Italy, and Vancouver on a budget of $318,000. And this is Tasia Telly's debut. So not much information. Do have some petty goofs, though. 2 petty goofs. When Derek and Audrey fly or drop from above, or when they throw around their victims, their bodies have a trajectory showing the actors are attached to a guide wire system. Yeah, they're not fucking really jumping around. And then this one too. It is highly unlikely Interpol would have brought in the investigation of Derek and Cliff's crimes regarding the blood bank ambulance incident. The simple fact a foreign national commits a crime doesn't mean that the international police are needed. If anything, Interpol might help liaison with the Canadian government regarding the men's prior criminal history, but they wouldn't take the active role of serving arrest warrants. Jesus Christ. Rated 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which equivalates to a 3.1 out of 5 for our purposes of the Nightmare Index. Funny enough, it also has a 3.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 83% on the tomato meter, and a 57% audience score. What did you give this, Cory?
So I had forgotten I had rated this on Letterboxd previously. My original rating was a 3.5.
Okay. It
has since been upgraded to a 4.
Okay. Perfect. So I had it at a 4 and have raised it to a 4.5. So that is a Frightmare certified slap. And that gives us a Nightmare Index of 3.68, which is quite high. That means it is sitting in between Deadstream at a 3.63 and We Are Still Here at a 3.69. Love that. Similar movies according to IMDb. We have The Bay, The Den, The Tunnel, Devil's Pass, and The Possession of Michael King. All solid movies, if I'm being quite honest. Similar movies according to Letterboxd. We have 30 Days of Night, Evil Dead, VHS, As Above, So Below, and something called Prowl. What the fuck is this movie? From 2010. Ooh, a 2.2 out of 5. I'm putting that on the watch list. Where is streaming on Plex? I know what I'm watching next. Do you have any funny reviews, good sir?
I have 4 funny reviews and an Eric Cloud review.
All right. What do you got?
All right. First review from Samsonite04 at a half star.
Ooh.
Some of these reviews that I picked make no fucking sense, which is why they're funny.
I love it.
So, all right. For the scene, we need you to again.
I think that,
and it's not the like TWO. It is TO.
I think they're missing some very key words that would have given us some context.
Yeah.
3 stars from May. The moral of this story is don't go to France, but everyone knows to not go there anyways. I'm so sorry, France. I'm so sorry.
This is another one rife with spelling and grammar mistakes. I'm going to read it how I think it's supposed to be.
Perfect.
A 1-star review from Oira. What happened, Vila? Why you crying again? I know, vampire, right? But now let me read it to you how it's written.
Okay.
What happened, Vila? Why you crying again? I know, vampire, right?
Vampire.
Let me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Vampire. Interesting. 3.5 stars from Jane. This is going to make sense to anybody who watches Twilight. I just thought it was funny. Modern day Twilight if Carlisle was a sexy French woman. I guess Carlisle's not a woman. I don't know. Someone out there might have laughed, like those two people. So that was for you.
Except it's totally fucking not anywhere near Twilight.
Perfect.
Because I've seen those movies, unfortunately.
I've seen them, but I
also read the books in school.
Wow. Okay. All right. Next.
A 5-star from S Joshi 5713. Found footage.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
3 stars from Kane Gary O'Keefe. This should be shown to every American as a cautionary tale of what happens if they come to Europe. Not just France, just all of Europe.
A 5-star and a heart from SJS made me shit my brains out.
Good Lord. 3 stars from Jess. I think this is the first vampire to ever not make me want to be a vampire. fucking agreed.
And then the only review that makes any type of cohesive sense from Eric Cloud.
Woo!
A 4-star and a heart.
Hell yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Originality, great use of POV found footage, genuinely able and empathetic characters, plus fun and well-executed action set pieces, not all commonplace in the genre.
Nice. That's our boy Eric Cloud. I think that's the first time we've all agreed more, or the most, as we all gave it 4 or more stars. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher Threads, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. Email us stayspooky@outlook.com. If you want to follow me personally on Letterboxd, you can find me at Dr. Proctor. You are
Frightmares Cory.
Booyah! If you'd like to expand your movie podcast listening, be sure to check out the Shameless Pictures Show, the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, and 1 Week Rental as well. You can also check out the vast library of someone's favorite productions. They have a lot of stuff to choose from. Next week, you and I will be doing Renfield from 2023 as our modern pick. It is streaming on Fandango, Peacock, and YouTube. So this one's a little bit more readily available than Afflicted was, but hey, at least Afflicted is now streaming somewhere. It's like it knew. The universe just knew we were covering this, and it was like, let me slide it somewhere for you guys.
Let me make it at least halfway easy for y'all to do this.
The fucking ads might suck, but at least you can watch it. So that is going to do it for this week, guys. And until the next episode, stay tuned and
stay spooky.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description